Today's story is one of those wild ride moments that started out so innocently. I had this work friend, you know, the kind of person you vibe with easily, but you're not exactly best buds. We were the same age and got along well, so it felt natural to hang out now and then. Honestly, after moving for my job, I hadn't really built up a local crew to hit up happy hour with or share hobbies, so this friend, who lived close by, ended up becoming a bigger part of my life than I'd expected. Sure, we were both married, but we never really did the whole couples night thing. My friend would drop hints about hanging out as couples, but I'd always dodge the idea. It just felt like too much work. I mean, who needs the pressure of mixing friend groups and marriage dynamics, right? But one day, we made casual plans to grab a drink at this local spot near my place. I showed up thinking it'd just be the two of us. Nope, he brought his wife. Now, I'm not the type to be super shy, but I could tell they had warned her that I'm a bit introverted, and to my surprise, she was super warm and friendly. And can I just say, this guy, who always looks like he just rolled out of bed, somehow married a total stunner. I'm talking like drop-dead gorgeous. You know the type, model-esque looks, the whole package. Suddenly, it clicked why he was always pushing for the couple's hangout. He probably just wanted to hear me say, "Dude, your wife is gorgeous." But the more time we spent together, the more I realized it wasn't about showing her off. He just genuinely wanted his wife, who was feeling kind of isolated at home, to make new friends too. She wasn't working at the time and was mostly at home, so he thought it'd be nice for her to have some people to hang with too. Soon after, we started planning that elusive couple's dinner. I was hesitant to bring up the idea to my wife, but to my surprise, she was all for it. Turns out, she had been missing her friends too, who were all busy with their kids. So, we finally had that double date. And guess what? Our wives hit it off immediately, as if they'd known each other forever. They were out for coffee dates, brunches, and shopping trips in no time, while I was content with the occasional beer with my buddy after work. Then, one weekend, my wife told me to keep my schedule clear. Apparently, my friend's wife's uncle had just opened a new beach house on the coast and had invited them to spend the weekend. Naturally, they wanted us to tag along. We showed up separately, in 2 cars, because who needs to be carpooling when you've got the freedom of your own vehicle, right? The place was massive, 3 stories, tons of space. It seemed like the kind of spot where couples go for a romantic getaway, so I was a bit confused as to why it was so huge. But hey, I wasn't complaining. The first floor was like a playground for adults, arcade games, pool table, you name it. The second floor was a kitchen and bar setup, perfect for a group to hang out and unwind. And the third? All bedrooms, with the main one having this ridiculous skylight where you could literally lie in bed and look up at the stars. We took one of the smaller rooms, leaving the fancy one for my friend and his wife. I mean, it's their connection that got us the free weekend after all. No big deal. After settling in, I noticed my friend's wife had really dressed up for the occasion. She was already stunning, but she turned it up a notch like runway ready. And my wife, bless her heart, is cute and charming, but not exactly in the knock your socks off kind of way. You can imagine where my mind wandered as we all spent the evening together. After some drinks and a nice barbecue, the mood shifted. You know how alcohol can bring out sides of people you didn't expect? Yeah, my friend's wife started dropping some sass, nothing crazy, just a few sharp-tongued remarks. Suddenly, my friend wasn't having it, and they got into a full-blown argument. She stormed off into the night, and there I was, caught in the middle. My friend just sat there, fuming, while his wife disappeared down the beach path. I couldn't let her wander off alone. It was dark, and who knows what could happen. So, reluctantly, I went after her. When I caught up, she was sitting on a bench, staring at the ocean, looking, well, vulnerable. I sat beside her, trying to play it cool, but she surprised me by opening up. I tried to say the right things, but the vibe was definitely getting weird. She thanked me for being so kind and even leaned into me, physically. Look, it's not like I went there with any intentions, but her sudden closeness threw me off guard. Before I knew it, things were escalating fast, and I had to pull myself back. Eventually, I got her back to the house, only to find my wife and friend nowhere in sight. Turns out, they had slipped away for their own private moment. And that's when my friend's wife dropped the real bombshell. This entire trip was a setup. My wife and my friend were in on it from the beginning, all to arrange. Well, let's just say it wasn't your typical weekend getaway. They'd already discussed everything, and I was the last to know. And that's how I found myself in the middle of the wildest, most unexpected experience of my married life. But honestly, I haven't looked back. Things are different now. A bit unconventional, sure. But who says life has to fit into the mold we're given?